Okay, I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I'm just recording this super fast. I will be on a trip for 2 weeks, which means that I will have time to edit, but I won't have time to film. So I'm trying to get ahead of that. But I leave tomorrow, so I just gotta do something really, really fast. It's like 9:30 p.m. the day before I leave on my trip, and I'm like, let's do something. With that being said, hello friends, hi friends, hey friends. I haven't said any hey friends. I did that trailer montage little thingy and realized that I never say hey friends. So hey friends. Okay, this idea is a little bit random, but I did think it was gonna be fun. I've had an iPhone since like 2018. My Apple ID always keeps things in the cloud, so I thought I would search book or reading and kind of go through some of my old reading related notes, like books that I wanted to read when I was ranking them, things like that. And no, I will not be showing my screen, but I will be reading things off to you. Okay, let's get started. So, right off the bat, I do have a whole bunch of things for this channel, like keeping track of my Frankenbook notes, YouTube video ideas, things like that. The first one that pops up that is not related to this channel is called Books I Must Finish in 2023, and like half of them are still unchecked. So I'd finished Iron Flame, Killing the Rising Sun, Song of Achilles. I don't remember all of these authors, so I'm not going to be saying them. Happy Place and Sunlit Man, Dune Messiah, and A New Earth. I had not yet finished Morningstar, Lessons in Chemistry, or The Darkest Minds. I think I actually just went in recently. Yeah, it says that I was updated February 13th, 2026. So I think I saw this and was like, oh, I should check off the rest of the ones that I have finished. But then I lost which ones had not been finished. So books I must finish in 2023, and the list wasn't even done. Next up, I have book pouches. I have a whole bunch of friends that I wanted to make book pouches for that I haven't gotten around to yet, just because I've been so busy, and I did it to myself. I totally did it to myself. I did recently finish my niece's, and I posted a picture of that onto my Instagram. I had her collaborate with me on it, and so she wrote her own name, and then she drew one of the flowers, and I embroidered her name in her handwriting and then filled in the flower. It took so long to fill in that thing because it was just huge, and there's no other lines to it, so I just made it one big solid color. But I do think it turned out really, really cute. So if you guys want to see what that looks like, you can head over to my Instagram page. I do have a few more friends that I wanted to make them for. One of them I started already, one of my friends from my hometown, and then the friend I live with right now, haven't made his yet, and then my coworker. Oh, look, another one I have is called London Spring 2026. So on my trip, we're doing a little cruise, and then we're spending a few days in some cities after, but then I'm staying even longer to linger in London because I love London. I'm so obsessed with it. And so while I'm there, I have a list of things that I might want to do. I've never been to a ballet in London. I don't think that they're having any while I'm going to be there this year, which makes me sad. But another idea is bookstore hopping. I want to make a bookstore hopping video while I'm in London in a couple weeks. Take you guys to some of the bookstores that I went to the most while I was living there. And then also, there's just so many that I missed out on that are so cool. And so, yeah, I want to kind of poke around. I hope that I don't get too chicken to do it though, because walking around with a camera and recording myself in London feels really, really daunting. This is fun. Okay, in the preview it's showing this little grid. I was trying a whole bunch of different titles for my channel name, and so it was abridged and something else, but that won't bring up the whole note. There's a whole bunch of other names that I had. Alpal's Lit Lounge, Nerdy by Nature, Alpal's Book Nook, but the whole note won't pull up, so I can't really say anything more about that one. Okay, next one. This one actually has to do with one of the videos I've already done. It's my top books in series. I like to update it every once in a while and write down the year. So in 2021, this is how my favorites list look like. The selection: Harry Potter, Twilight, Hunger Games, Percy Jackson, Ender's Game, Pretties, Aragon, The Goddess Test, Divergent, Throne of Glass, The Grishaverse, Lord of the Rings, Phantom of the Opera, and Pride and Prejudice. And those two are kind of in their own category because they're obviously very different from the rest. But if you have watched, I think it's my second video, I went through my top 14 books in series that I enjoy, and so there is overlap, but the ones that no longer exist are on my 2025, because it was at the end of 2025, are Pretties, The Goddess Test, and then what I've added to this list is that's on one. Red Rising, Throne of Glass, no, not Throne of Glass, Elantris Collection, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time. Oh, A Song of Ice and Fire. Stand by that one. Manacled and Dune. And then I took the Grishaverse from like the whole Grishaverse to just Shadow and Bone. And I don't know if that's like brutal, but that's how the list has kind of changed over time. And it's so much fun. Oh, I'm not gonna talk about that. Oh, this one's cute. So my mom just really likes it when we just tell her what we want. And we do like 4 gifts of Christmas. Something I want, something I need, something to wear, something to read. And in my something to read, I said, please pick a book you've enjoyed this year, any, not beholden to any specific genres. I am okay with Kindle books. What she ended up getting me was David Copperhead, and I think I just barely finished it before the end of 2025. So it took me almost a whole year to get to it, but I did get to it eventually, and I did really, really enjoy it. So it's kind of like a fun little story, how that led into the next thing. Books. Oh, okay. I don't remember who I was making this list for. It has to be one of my coworkers because I reference another one of my coworkers' names. Oh, you know what? I think it was for like my coworker's then girlfriend. They're married now. I was just making a bunch of recommendations for all of them. There's a lot of Brandon Sanderson on here, but there's also like Circe and Song of Achilles, Red Rising, of course. I said anything Emily Henry, very fun. No Brain Power, romances. More Sando, Book of Ivy. Does anyone else know Book of Ivy? My friend group was like really obsessed with it when we were in, well, I guess it had to be high school. And I actually didn't read it until like a year or two ago, just because like everyone was obsessed with it. I was like, I want to read it, but like the copy that my friend had was always lent out to someone else, so I never actually read it, but my friend group was really obsessed with it. Oh, this is fun. I didn't come up with this game. My sister-in-law and her sister have this game that they play called Deep or Spicy, and it's like you can ask, instead of truth or dare, where like if you do dare you have to go and do something. Everyone's lazy, no one wants to get up and do anything, so instead you get to choose between a deep truth question, something that's like philosophical or makes you think, or a spicy one, something that might be like a little bit taboo or is something, you know, that you're dying to know, something about the hot goss. The reason why I have book written in this one: if your life was a book, what would be the name of the chapter you're in right now? When I made this list, I was still in college, and I think my answer always was The Storm Before the Calm, because I'm in school and things are kind of like just unstable. You know, like your life is changing every like 3 months. The classes that you're taking are changing, the people you see every day are changing. But then I knew it was all gonna pay off because of the career that I had planned for myself. Like I knew it's a cozy office job. I love working my 9 to 5 every single day, and so I would always say The Storm Before the Calm to kind of like twist that phrase. Actually, let's switch over to look up a read. Oh, this is fun. So this is my summer reading list just from no, not last year. This was probably 2 years ago. Yeah. Was it? Anyway, summer reading list for 2024, presumably. The Will of the Many, Powerless, Light Lark, Dragon Republic, Burning God. I hadn't finished any of those at the last update. The only one that I have finished even now is The Will of the Many. And then the books that I did finish over the summer were Poppy War, Ruthless Vows, and Divine Rivals. That was in opposite order. A Curse for True Love and Ballad of Never After. I think those ones are also flipped. Took the official Knights Radiant quiz and got my results as a Truth Watcher, and so I copied and put it into my notes so that I don't have to like go and load up the website every single time. I thought this was fun. I was like really pleased getting Truth Watcher too, because green is my favorite color and the Truth Watcher colors are green and gold. I got the pajamas, the Sanderson pajamas for the Truth Watchers when I was at Nexus my first year, and I have no regrets. They're actually great pajamas. When I was in London, I had a little spell where I was feeling pretty lonely, and so in order to lift my spirits, my mom and I started doing one of those like daily gratitude things. And our day 8, this is cute. I'll read this whole thing. Gratitude day 8, 3 things I enjoy most and why. Reading. It's like a little safe haven where I get to be alone even if I'm in a room of 42 people. That's how many people were on my study abroad. I also love what I learn just from reacting to what happens in the characters' relationships. Number 2, I want this to still be reading, but that feels cheap, so playing word games with Amber over text. Amber is my sister. It's a good way for us to stay in touch. And number 3, listening to new music in the living room floor with my noise canceling headphones. I feel so in the moment and in cartoon with myself. It's really cute. But I like that I wanted both 1 and 2 to be reading. And that's stayed true. Like, even to this day, I just wish I had more time to read, but instead I'm doing things like this, which is just as good, you know? It does mean that I listen to way more audiobooks than I actually like sit and physically read now. Let's see. Books to read. The Testing series and I Am Number 4. I have not read either of those. I need to get up to date on that. I have a backstory for my D&D character for the one D&D campaign I tried playing that did not really get off the ground. Ooh, wrote a little bit. Should I read this out loud for you guys? It's kind of cringy, still it's kind of fun. Okay, I read this in 2018. She turned and started for the door. She had finally forgotten him. She thought she was over him too, but distance makes the heart grow fonder even when you neglect to watch it. Everything was harder from there. Craving some semblance of what they had before, she tried everything she could think of to get things back on track. Guilt and loss motivated almost everything Sam did. As Hayden's actions became more chaotic, she came up with more and more excuses for why she kept giving him endless chances. By the time they were both ready to move on, love had twisted into something it was never meant to be for Sam. Maybe he had never been the person she thought he was from the beginning, or maybe he let go in a way she wasn't able to anymore. Her mind had been muddled on the subject of Hayden until she could no longer tell fact from fiction. Sam, I know I've hurt you in a way that I could never fix, or that anyone could fix. I just want to apologize, the way I should have apologized the day I met you. She hesitated, but only slightly before grasping the handle and letting herself out of the building. The sun shone on the sidewalk outside of the coffee shop. A couple steps away, and she forgot the color of his shoes. A few more, and gone was the way he shifted from left to right before calling to her. By the time she reached the end of the street, she had erased the way Hayden said her name, softly and slowly, as if he knew the way it would hurt if he startled her. She clasped her hands together tightly, but angled her face toward the sun and focused on the way she could feel the warmth sinking into her skin in order to rid herself of the sinking feeling in her stomach. I will not let him ruin such a beautiful day. I won't let him mar another date on the calendar. Forget it all. Forget him again. That's crazy. I was so dramatic, like in a super incredibly not casual way, and for no reason either. Like I had nothing going on, nothing interesting at all. I was just like all internal, and I was angsty all the time. Okay, let's go back to books. I have notes that I wrote. I have a friend who got her degree in English literature, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was, and is also getting her master's degree. And she did these really cool, fun book presentations at the used bookstore she used to work at. And so this one's a whole thing about the development of the romance novel. That was the presentation where I learned about the Wet Shirt Darcy, and I think it's really funny. I was in Richmond last year, and we walked into a Waterstones, and there was like a mug, and it was like authors and their characters, and Jane Austen was with Wet Shirt Darcy. And if you didn't know, Wet Shirt Darcy started... Well, it started in the 90s with Austen adaptations. Oh, I think in the 1995 BBC short series is when Wet Shirt Darcy started happening. And so I just thought that the mug was really funny because it's authors and their characters, but she never wrote Wet Shirt Darcy. Like that's not a thing. That's when the female gaze started entering these adaptations. I thought that was fun. I miss those presentations a lot. They were super fun. Maybe she'll have to be a special guest sometime. Oh, I also have all of the characters that I am. You know, like when you take those quizzes and it's like 1,000 questions, but then when you're done it says, okay, like you're 85% similar to this character. I did that, and I like wrote down all of the characters that I actually knew. And my highest overall was Fleur Delacour from Harry Potter. Avatar Katara, the MCU Doctor Strange, Star Wars C-3PO. Honorable mention Princess Leia. Oh, Lord of the Rings Legolas, Downton Abbey, Lady Edith. Let's see, Hunger Games Effie Trinket. I've never been prouder of anything in my entire life. This was also in 22, so this was quite a while ago. Crazy Rich Asians Astrid, Romeo and Juliet the nurse, and Great Gatsby, Daisy Buchanan. So I feel like you kind of get the idea of like kind of like the airhead characters that are actually like pretty book smart, but not so much like socially smart. That kind of sums me up. I took notes when I was reading Dune. These are some of the fun ones. I know I'm an emotional person, but dang, every time someone is having feelings, it seems so intense and exhausting. Oh, that's a spoiler. I can't say that one. A quote, law is the ultimate science. I just realized the villain is named Vladimir, which makes sense realizing it was written in the 60s. Last one from this one. I think this is funny. I also just realized they use a lot of plastic. Bahaha. Remember when people thought it was a magic substance? It was fun to see those like little lingering things in Dune that like clue you in on the fact that it was not written recently. Oh, I have a note called Valid Reasons to Not Like a Book. 1. Infuriating characters. 2. Plot holes. 3. Bad or too much dialogue. 4. Plot doesn't develop. 5. Sexist or racist characters. Invalid reasons to not like a book. 1. Written in first person present tense. 2. Quote, the words were too big. Oh, I violated this. And 3. Beef against the author. Okay, so there's 2 authors that come to mind when I think about beef with the author. One of them, their series I had already read, and so I love the series, but I do not love the author. The other one, the other author that I beef with, I've actually never read one of their books, and so I just refuse to, because it feels like, the damage hasn't already been done. Like, I'll just leave those ones and never pick them up. But yeah, I think I violated that. I was so dramatic, you guys. I have this written down as like a book idea, and it says, what's the worst part about dying? Not knowing what is actually killing you. Maybe your heart will fail. Maybe your stomach bursts today. Maybe your brain just shuts down. The worst part about living? Not knowing when the best moments are present. That's crazy. It was so poetic back then. Oh, wait. Okay, there's more on this list. This is a good one to end on. Gratitude Day 29, my proudest accomplishment. And it says, my summer reading list from 2021. All 42 books in the rankings and the comments. I believe that the perfect scale to rank things is 1 to 32 because it's divisible by 2 so many times. So you can just kind of like keep separating things to an appropriate level. I would like write down the title of the book. I would give it a score 1 to 32. I would highlight that score in a color that coordinated with like, was it a like? Was it a hate? Was it a love? And then I would write like a 1-line comment about the book. And sometimes they were as silly as like, wow, that character was hot. And sometimes they got a little bit deeper. That's still to this day one of my proudest accomplishments. There's a little taste for you. Well, that's fun to just kind of reminisce. It goes to show that I have been obsessed with reading my entire life. Some people talk about how like they liked to read when they were a kid and they kind of fell off the boat for a while and got back on when they were into adulthood. Not for me. Yes, there were years when like I slowed down when I was in school, but every time summer came back around and I finally had free time, I would always pick them back up again. As evidenced by the fact that I listened to I listened to most of the audiobooks that summer because of the job I had. But some of them I also read. But like in one summer, I was just like, I haven't read all year. Give me all the content, and just like downloaded it to my brain. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was kind of like a weird one, kind of a little one, but like I said, going on that trip, and so I just want to have something I can edit and put up while I'm out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next week for a London bookstore hopping video. If I don't, I'm really gonna eat my words here. Okay, bye.